Good morning, everyone. Hi. Let me just, where is Duncan?
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me okay? Let me just try and find Duncan so I can.
I'll be on mute this meeting because I have to drive. So I'll be listening in. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for letting us know. Okay, just a second. Oh, there's Duncan. Okay, so now I can let Duncan take the reins. I can find him. There he is. Okay, Duncan, I've made you co-host. Okay, so if you could take charge of letting people in the room when they appear, because I'm not good at multitasking. Okay, so good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's nice to see so many of you here this morning. So that's great. As usual, there's a lot to talk about, and I will go through a few items of news that are worth of taking some time over. But please also start thinking about the questions that you want to ask, because this is mainly a session to help you guys too. So just get them ready now. So when I've finished talking, if I'm talking too much, you can just like interrupt me and tell me to shut up, which sometimes is necessary. Then we can go through your questions one by one. Okay, let me start sharing my my screen straight away, and let's start talking about a few things. Okay, order some of these. Okay, first of all, I just wanted to have a very quick look at the graph for Bitcoin, because I know that many people, they always look at the price, or let's have a look at that. And obviously we have gone down a little since this this past couple of weeks. But what I wanted to do with you for a second, let's just look at the very recent past. Okay, so we start measuring some of these downturns that we see in the price. So for example, we go back here, we see a 30% drop. Let's have a look here. Oh, sorry, that I don't want to measure that. You know, 15% drop. Here, if we measure the first drop is 20%, we measure up to the minimum one is 25%. So just, I don't know if you start getting the idea of this, is that, things don't go up in a straight line. About 15% drop here. So at the moment we are looking at we've had about 20% drop, which is completely normal. For something like Bitcoin. We see, just if we go back, even without calculating this big drop here, which is about 50%, there are kind of 20% drop, 30% drop, 25% drops all the time, every few weeks. Okay, so it's nothing to concern yourself about. And this is a way that the market generally shakes off the extra leveraging that there is in people that are trying to take advantage of the trend of the price going up, and they use borrowed money to trade. And when the market realizes that this is a little bit overextended, then it traces back 20-25%, and this is a way of taking the excess out of the market and starting again in a way. Okay, so that's where we are right now. Now, although we have seen this price drop, what's happening on chain is a different thing, because we're seeing kind of like the whales, which are kind of like big holders of Bitcoin, are still accumulating. So they see as a good, still a very good entry point, because they are obviously betting on Bitcoin going a lot higher from here. So they're still accumulating their positions. They're not selling their coins at all. They're buying more. Okay, so it is good. You know, whenever you are, and you will see that now we are entering into a phase of a blockchain in general entering the mainstream. Okay, and we see many examples of this, and you're going to have everything coming at you very quickly, kind of like news, YouTube and Facebook, and your best friend has never been interested in crypto, just now starting to, you know, bombard you with crypto things. Okay, so it's important to make sense of things, and to having a look at the data, and not just going with the hype and social media and everywhere else is going on around you. Okay, so this, in the case of Bitcoin, we look at, you know, everything is public in blockchain, so we can have a look at the transactions, and we can see what is going on. Okay, so you can see that the whales are considered traders that hold in between 100 to 10,000 Bitcoin. Okay, so the big holders. So 50,000, 500,000, 5 million, $5 million plus. Okay, so they accumulated an extra 59,000 Bitcoins just over the past week. Okay, so this is one example. Now, another thing, let's start from the, you know, high items of news, and then we go on to kind of more granular things. Okay, obviously there is a lot of talk about regulations, both in the US and the EU, and other things that we need to look at to understand where the market is going. Okay, because this will have an influence on how the prices moves as well. Now, this article here, you know, from the Daily Hodl, and for those of you that maybe are new to crypto, this is why kind of like HODL is a way of hold your coins for the long term. Is a way that, you know, this is a trader that after the big Bitcoin drop in 2017, he actually put this tweet saying, "I'm still hodling," and from then on, everybody's been referring to hodling as somebody that's got strong hands that doesn't sell their crypto, you know, when the market goes down. Okay, so this article is from the US Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and it's talking about saying banks must meet certain conditions to deal in cryptocurrency. Now, it can look as a restrictive bit of news, but it is not. It's actually very positive in the sense that, you know, the regulators themselves are realizing that this is here to stay, and obviously banks and financial institutions wants to deal with this, because it's where a lot of the customers want to be. So they want to offer the products that the customers want. Now, so it is important how, you know, obviously banks, financial institutions are highly regulated. It's important that the regulators offers kind of like a framework that they can work within. Okay, although this is just a very, very vague article, and what it says in the, you know, what the Office of the Control of the Currency has said is very, very vague. But they started saying that you know, there are certain conditions that they have to adhere to, talking about banks and talking about buying and selling cryptocurrency for the customers and custodying the cryptocurrency for the customers. It's not very clear in what they are saying, but they simply say that they have to notify the supervisory office about what they wanting to do, and the fact that they have got certain structures in place to take care of their customers, and then they should receive a note of non-objection from the office. So they're not telling exactly how a bank can be compliant. Now, simply, you know, they start to say, look, we have a say here whether you can do certain things or not, and you have to let us know so that we can kind of give you permission by saying, but not actually giving permission, but saying, actually, we're not objecting. Okay, so it's a little convoluted, but this is what they're saying. So in a way, it's the first example of them trying to establish a framework for banks to offer certain products to their customers. And this has been done on a state level. Certain states have made it possible for the banks to offer cryptocurrency products to to the customer, this is at a national level. So it is much more relevant, okay, for cryptocurrency offering from the traditional banking sector to the customers. And also, why is this important? Because there is still a barrier to entry for many people that see this as too complicated to get involved with. And the fact of having somebody that in a way that you trust, with, in a way, because you always use them for your savings, for your banking, and so on. It's a reassuring factor, and in a way, they know that people can then trust entering the market because there is a trusted party that can take care of the technical aspects of it for them. Okay. On another subject, going into the EU instead. Now, there is this thing going through the European Parliament now, which is the markets in crypto asset proposal. Okay, and this is looking a lot more closely at stablecoin governance, especially as there has been already some examples of European banks that are starting to launch some kind of like hybrid products, mixing centralized finance and decentralized finance. And this is, I think, one area that I fully agree with. I think there needs to be some form of governance, or at the very least reporting of cryptocurrency, of stablecoins, because stablecoins are kind of like an in-between between the centralized finance and decentralized finance. But often, they are handling billions and billions of value, and on the strength of not much more than a promise. Because if you look at the Tether case that's going through the US, for example, it is under a lot of scrutiny, because they're always told everybody that for each Tether there is a correspondent dollar in a US bank's vault. Okay, so if this is it, and people are giving you their hard-earned cash to get Tether in exchange, show us your books. Show us your numbers. Where are these dollars? Where are these dollars kept? Are they kept in cash? Are they kept in bonds? Which format do they have? So I think this is necessary for institutional money to be more to trust the process a lot more, because although it is okay for me and you to make decisions based on what we think, on what we believe, when we're talking about pension funds and investment funds, they have certain rules that need to be followed. Okay, and there are certain standards that their investments need to follow. Okay, so this is a very important piece of the puzzles that I think is one of the pieces where regulation can actually do a lot of good, rather than intervene where it's not needed. Okay, now let's go on to something else. One of the main talking points lately has been in gaming coins and metaverse coins. Okay, and there have been a real on a real tear, let's say. And we can see here, this is a grayscale report to say that the metaverse may soon reach $1 trillion of market value. And we've seen in the news examples of plots of land, for example. This is virtual land on Sandbox or on Decentraland, and even recently on Axie Infinity, being sold for millions. And even the standard plots, I mean, these are special pieces of land on kind of a particular real estate digital that is very valuable. But even smaller pieces of land that me and you could be interested in buying are selling for tens of thousands of dollars. And these things are priced in multiples of Ethereums to buy. So you can imagine how expensive it is. And it's funny because now we get a lot of traditional property investors. They're actually moving into dealing in online property. So they're buying and selling land in these metaverse projects. So some of the biggest gainers, of late have been, as I say, projects like Sandbox, like Decentraland, like Engine Coin, which are at the forefront of these metaverses. And then they haven't really, when you think about it, Sandbox, for example, is launching this week. These are projects they haven't even fully launched yet, but they're getting so much interest in that now there are projects that are already producing products for the metaverse, and there are kind of hybrid cases that are really interesting. Like, for example, Gucci is where I'm seeing, I don't know if I've got that article with Gucci, but Gucci has launched, for example, some items that they are selling from a shop in the metaverse in Roblox. And for example, one of the handbags that they produced have actually sold for about $4,000. Although it was sold originally for a few dollars, it was resold on a secondary market for about $4,000. So kind of like unbelievable. But not only that, but there is another make of shoes, for example. They sell, with each pair of shoes they sell, they also give you an NFT, so you can use the same shoes on your the same shoes that you're wearing in real life. You can use them on your avatar, so your avatar can be using those shoes in the metaverse. So there are all these kind of hybrid phases and cases. And another I can't remember which fashion house was, they produced a video of launch of the collection. And once they did that, they actually auctioned the video as an NFT. So it's not just yes, I metaverse when you can do stuff online, but it is also this meeting of the real world and the online world. This giving birth to so many different use cases that we couldn't even think of a few months ago. So this is often, and I know that Roger often talks about saying, the job that our children are going to be involved in probably hasn't been invented yet. And we're seeing the example here every week. New things are being thought of. So this is another example. For example, in Polka Starter, they are launching a land sale marketplace. So the way you can actually buy and sell land, not just on one metaverse, but in different metaverses. Okay, so you can sell a bit of land from Sandbox, buy one from Decentraland, one from Axie Infinity, and so on. So it's kind of like a central cross-chain marketplace for digital land. Okay, so these are kind of the things that are being thought of every day, every week, and they kind of completely new, that didn't exist before before they were launched, but somebody actually thought about these things first. So there are lots of opportunities as well for entrepreneurs to excuse me, to launch new products, and the barriers to entry is very low at the moment. This is what I was talking about, the fashion, and about visibility and the rise of in-game digital fashion. So you were saying about a Gucci, and this is the example: an embroidered handbag, originally priced as 475 Robux or $6, was then resold for 350,000, or about $4,000. Okay, and say Gucci has created digital clothing for several games, Pokemon Go, The Sims, and then they open a Gucci garden on the Roblox gaming platform. Okay, so different things, as you can see. Names, big names are moving onto designing not just real clothing, but also virtual clothing that you can use online. Okay, so and this is because of me, I'm Italian. I picked up this bit of news here that Floki Inu now has actually closed an agreement with the Napoli Football Club. For those of you that follow football, one of the largest football clubs in Italy. And this is interesting because Floki Inu is a kind of like a meme coin that hasn't even been accepted in crypto by crypto exchanges. For example, is on none of the big exchanges, not on Binance, it's not on Coinbase, but already is of a size that can close a multi-million deal with a with a football club. So now you start seeing advertising on the back of the Napoli shirts and on the stadium, on the side of the stadium, you'll see the name of Floki Hino plastered everywhere. Okay, so this is kind of like, I just wanted to pick these things up to show you how we're now moving into the mainstream. So this is actually happening for real. Okay. What else? But the other thing that I wanted to mention, obviously, as there is a lot of attention and information that comes from you from every source, there's also there will be lots of crypto scams. Okay, so this is just October, and be very careful if you follow YouTube. Over 9 million have been scammed through fake YouTube live streams. This is what they look like. Okay, so what they do, they use the face or somebody like Elon Musk or Vitalik Buterin or Michael Saylor, Charles Hoskinson. So all the known personality around the world of crypto will be used. And this is basically an interview that Elon Musk would have given us some stage, and it's framed within something like this. And then it says, this thing says basically, send us your Shiba, we will send you twice as much, things like this. Or send us your Cardano in the case of Charles Hoskinson, and you send us 1,000 Cardano, we'll send you 2,000. No, nobody would give away coins in this way. And the only thing you can be sure of is that you send this money, you never see it back. Okay, so be very careful and do not send cryptos online to anybody, please. Okay, because if somebody is asking you to, if you promise you something, it's a scam. As simple as that. Okay, and on the other thing that I wanted to show you is really interesting is that the Polkadot parachains have been going on now for a couple of weeks, and we had the first two first parachain auction winners, which are Akala and Moonbeam. Okay, now I just wanted to show you, for example, the first was won by Akala, the second one by Moonbeam. Now, to show you the size of these projects, okay, again, this is what I want to show you that. They had about 1.4 billion, billion that have been pledged to this platform. I mean, when you say pledged, it means that, I personally have pledged some of my Polkadots to this project, okay? Now, what it means is that you are bonding your Polkadot to this project for the duration of the parachain. Now, in this case, the parachain is 2 years, okay? So for those 2 years, I will not receive staking rewards from Polkadot, but instead I will receive Moonbeam tokens. And then I can sell those tokens if I want to, I can stake them, I can do whatever thing I would do with a normal token. Okay, and at the end of the 2 years, I still have my Polkadot back, and I will have my Moonbeam tokens as well at the same time. So it is in a way of investing in a way in the ecosystem for Polkadot without having to pay any cash up front, because it's just an opportunity cost. You don't have to part with with any cash. But the reason why I show you how much interest there is in these things, and this is just one project. Polkadot is one ecosystem, one project. We had 200,000 participants that have contributed Polkadot to this crowd loan, because this is the format that the parachains take. Okay, and it reached the actual the amount of Polkadot pledged has been over 35 million Polkadot. Now, one Polkadot at the moment is worth about $40. So you make it's actually 1.4 billion. This is how you get to this figure. And so when you say, I want you to read this part in here highlighted. At the close of the second auction, over 95 million DOT, approximately $3.8 billion, has been locked in crowd loans for parachain projects across the ecosystem. Okay, so and this is a telling sign as Polkadot rolls out parachains, including smart contract functionality for the first time. So this shows you how much interest there is on projects like Polkadot, on projects like Cardano. Okay, these are not fully functioning products yet, neither Polkadot nor Cardano. Okay, but this is the kind of interest that there is. And I tell you what is not being talked about is a lot of institutions are investing heavily. in Cardano and in Polkadot. Okay, there are two really massive projects. They are very, very well supported from an institutional level. Okay, so and another bit of news, obviously, still related to the parachains. Now, the winner of the first parachain is Akala. And now, so if you think about it, this is about a layer 3 project, which is this project Subquery. So if you think about it, Polkadot is the original chain. Akala is built on Polkadot, and Subquery will be built on Akala. So this is to show you how this is just one project within Polkadot, which will collect most of the DeFi initiatives within Polkadot. So this is what Akala is. It's kind of like a DeFi hub for Polkadot. Okay, and this is just I'm not particularly looking into Subquery and what it does, but just I wanted to show you how the activity is going on. So each one of these projects, Akala, Moonbeam, all the winners of the parachains are big projects in their own right. Okay, and they will have their own ecosystem around them, and they all share the main functionality of Polkadot, but they operate from a separate blockchain. And this is why they call parachains, because they're kind of like parallel chains that are working at the same time and doing their own thing, but then reporting to the mother chain in a way, which is Polkadot. Okay, this is the architecture of Polkadot, and the innovation they bring is that they are with this architecture, they can operate on different blockchains at the same time. So it is a way of connecting or being cross-chain and connecting different blockchains to give them interoperability. So because this has been the problem so far, is that all the main projects, whether the Bitcoin, the Ethereum, they're all like vertically integrated projects, but they don't really talk to each other. Okay, and this is what Polkadot is doing, is helping the different chains talk to each other. Okay, it's Polkadot. On a smaller scale, we have Cosmos, which has taken a different technical route, but is trying to operate in the same market in a way, interoperability between blockchains. And this is going to become a bigger and bigger a narrative. When you hear this word about interoperability, cross-chain, this is what is going to happen, because in the end, what we are waiting for is for a Wi-Fi moment in blockchain. Like now, you can go any part of the world, whether it's North Korea, whether it's a remote part of Africa, and if there is some internet, obviously you'll be able to connect through Wi-Fi, okay, with the same item, whether it's your iPhone or your iPad or any other item that connects to the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi protocol is the same worldwide. Okay, so we will get to a point where the same thing, the way that you connect to the blockchain will have an interface like Wi-Fi that allows you to connect to whatever blockchain you want to connect to. Okay, and so we are moving towards that kind of world. Now, the other thing, and I think this is probably the last couple of things that I wanted to discuss before we start questioning. Algorand. Algorand is another one of the big serious projects. Okay, so built out of MIT, one of the main institutions, educational institution in the world, and especially concentrated on technology. Okay, it's where the technology hub of US academia lives. This is where the Algorand project has come out of. And they are building this is a project called C3 on Algorand. This is a little bit technical, okay, but it is a way that collateral in crypto can be used for different things. So they are helping to make collateral cross-chain and being able to be used for different projects. Like, for example, if you use, if you go on, for example, even on Binance, if you look at here and you want to trade, you see whichever account, if you want to trade margin or if you want to trade futures, it has to be a separate account. You have to have a separate collateral supporting each project. Okay, and it's not the way that it works in traditional finance, where a broker we hold your collateral, and we'll be able to, can make you interact with, with different things, futures, okay, with foreign exchange and with different options. Can use the same collateral for different kind of exposure. And this is a similar thing that they're trying to do on Algorand with this project. So as you can see, they're all talking about how we use assets cross chains. So this is the biggest really narrative going on at the moment, because they all proven the point now. We know the blockchain works. We know that there are projects that are very serious, doing very well. The Bitcoin, the Ethereum, the Cardano, the Polkadot, and so on. And now, how do we get them to work together? That's the next question. Okay, and that's a really big thing. On a smaller scale, I just wanted to bring this up. We're talking about Cardano. Okay, now something like this is the kind of like bad news that you should be very, very careful of. Okay, because this article is complete garbage. Okay, and you got to be careful, because the information you get over cryptocurrency news, it is very biased and it follows its own agenda. I mean, this particular thing is talking about eToro, that is preparing to do an IPO in the US. So they are tidying up some of their offerings that cost them basically more than what they're producing in fees, in a way. So eToro. It's a smaller cryptocurrency exchange, although they are very big in other markets, like forex and shares and so on. And they're quite small in the cryptocurrency exchange. And this doesn't say anything about Cardano. There's nothing to worry about for Cardano. The same day that eToro announced, by the way, eToro, you can still trade Cardano on eToro, it's not available. It won't be available for some reason in the US. But the same day that this was announced, it was also announced that Cardano will be listed on Bitstamp, which is about 10 times the size of eToro. Okay, so nothing to worry about either of Cardano's liquidity. This was kind of like it was a very, very limited thing related to liquidity in exchanges between Tron and Cardano. So it is very, very niche, and it's got no space to be reported in this manner. And this actually caused a drop of about 10% in the market, because this is the way that things go. At the moment, markets move on rumors rather than on facts. But although several news, for some reason, there seems to be a very bad press relating to Cardano. There seems to be a lot of animosity in the way that things are reported. So everybody reported this piece of news. Hardly everybody reported about Bitstamp, which is a much bigger news, listing Cardano, and then because they command a lot more traffic than eToro ever will. Okay, so I think I've pretty much covered the things that I wanted to cover today, at least in the terms of news. And now we can open up to questions. I think I've gone over half an hour as well, which is longer than usual. So let's take some questions.
We do actually have a couple, guys. Don't be shy. Lovely to see a nice big turnout today for Crypto Hour. So please do get every question you might have into the chat, or like I said, in the chat. Just let us know. Raise your hand or unmute yourself if you want to chat and ask questions of Luca directly. Nice question from Linda. How is virtual land valued? I imagine that virtual land has an endless supply, and endless supply equals low value. Well, I'm going to chip in there, but surely with land, the old maxim location must still be important in the virtual world. Sorry, Luke.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and it is not. It is not like endless supply. It is. There is a limited supply of plots of land, same way that in the real world. But there is an unlimited supply of metaverses. So in the end, depends. It's your choice. You might want to buy a piece of land in Decentraland or Sandbox, and it depends on how well the project does. So at the end of the day, in crypto, we are talking about communities. So the more users come to a certain metaverse, excuse me, the more valuable the plots of lands are on that thing. So the more, the same way that you measure, when you want to run a shop in a mall, what you pay for really is footfall, and the price that you pay depends on the footfall that mall generates, and it's a similar thing here. So this is how these things, there is no underlying, what is anything worth? It's the same way that what is a house worth? Maybe worth X amount, $300 today, maybe worth 200 tomorrow, or 500. Who knows? So it all depends on supply and demand, and this really depends on the number of users. I mean, at the moment we're seeing Sandbox, and there are 3 projects actually. They are commanding a lot of money for the virtual land. They are Sandbox, Decentralize, and Axie Infinity, and all 3 of them have seen multi-million plots of land being sold. And even for smaller plots, I mean, you are talking about tens of thousands of dollars. Okay, so it is become kind of like a big thing, and it shows you how the metaverse is really gaining importance, for many different things, because retail is one of the first consumer products out there. So what we've seen this year, especially with NFTs and the metaverse, is a way that you can interact with, users can use the digital, can show off digitally, the same way that we would show off, to our friends with buying a pair of designer gear, jeans or shoes or whatever else, or handbag. We can now do it online, and this is where people hang out, and this is why these things are valuable, because people want to be seen by other people, and if you go to the place where you're seen, then you want to have something to show off. Okay, and that's where we are. Okay.
Wonderful. We've got a couple of other bits, but I want to come to a question that John's posed in front of a couple of others, just because I thought it was quite interesting, and I think you might. And then we can come back to stuff about exchanges and things. If you were about to develop a product or solution on the blockchain, which one would you go with? Or does it really depend on the project that you're delivering?
Sorry, what need to qualify that question again. If you were about to develop a product solution on the blockchain, so it depends on, you always start from you start from the user. So what problem are you trying to solve? That's the thing. So that's what the demand is, and as entrepreneurs, that's what, rather than the technical aspect, what you're doing, is that what problem are you solving? And if there is a nice product market fit, then you have a winner, and then you can start working on the technicalities and how you get down. Just like we have Jonathan here on the call. Jonathan is involved in Cardano as a stake pool operator, and now he's even is taking part in one of the pioneer programs as well, to learn about ID, digital ID and so on. But it would tell you, for example, how in Cardano you have, for example, decentralized funding for ideas and projects, and this is how it works. You put forward a project that think will do some good for the community, and then if the community deems that it's a worthwhile project to support, they will contribute funds to that project, and then you get on and start building. Okay, so this is how it works. I always start with the problem first. What are you trying to do? Because how can you ask for funds if you don't know if you don't know what you're doing, or if the things that you're thinking it's good, it's going to be useful or not. So we always start in crypto. We always start from the community, and we start from the projects and what problems are we solving. So say what would you do? Which blockchain would be involved with? That really depends on what you're trying to do and where your experience lies as well. Because the first, the easiest way to get involved with crypto is just like use your experience that you have of life and then apply it to crypto. Because if you already are an expert in your field, then you will be well positioned to understand the effect of cryptocurrency and blockchain in your field of experience, and you'll be the best positioned to understand if this is going to be a disruptive change that this new technology is bringing, or if it's going to be incremental. So it is our knowledge is one of the most undervalued probably items that we can use. And our experience can help us value the effect of technology. Okay, Duncan, what else?
Mute on, mute off, mute on. I wanted to just raise a point that John mentioned, because I mean, not just saying it, when you mention certain things and say that it might be a good idea to invest in them, I tend to follow the advice, and a few select other people. I even, Roger, if he mentioned something that looks interesting. But John's mentioned that Mel Gibson's investing in a coin that you mentioned earlier. So I wondered if you'd consider Mel to be in the kind of bracket who you'd follow when it comes to investments.
Well, Mel Gibson is the boss. Come on.
Sometimes we have to ask ourselves in life, what would Mel Gibson do? So when it comes to investing, it only makes sense, doesn't it? I don't know what Chuck Norris is investing in, but it was thanks for raising it anyway, John. It's stuck in my mind.
That? Which coin was that? By the way,
I don't know, John.
Luca, it's pretty much like what you were mentioning before. There's a bunch of those Facebook ads going around, which are all just scams, where it's like such and such is investing in this, and people click on it, and then they're exposed, and away we go.
But you know what? The thing that's scary is that even people that are quite experienced in crypto, I've seen in different crypto groups that I've been part of, there are people being taken in by some of these things. People that say, actually, what do you think of this? This seems legit. Like, Charles Hoskinson giving away ADA. Really? Do you think that he would bother just sending people to send him ADA and just spending his time? This is a CEO of a major company, sending everybody ADA back. Really? For what? For which reason? And he's got like 4 videos where he goes on for 5 minutes, just telling everybody we will never give away ADA. Just repeating that only for 5 minutes, like a mantra. That people still fall for these things. People still fall for these things.
You see, the thing is, Mel isn't really an ordinary investor, and because I don't know if you've seen Payback. But if you have, that he doesn't have to worry about losing his money. He'll get his money back if it's a scam.
Yes, I have actually. It was a good movie.
Well, one of my favourites. Jay would like to ask. It looks like Moonbeam and Akala are already over, but there are Astar and Efinity available. So, what's your general view here?
I'm not going to cover individual projects, but there is going to be about 100. Different parachains at the moment. This is the capacity of the network. So we just started with the parachain options. The kind of like Moonbeam and Akala were shoe-ins. So everybody knew there would be number 1 and 2. Just the only question was who was going to be number 1 and who was going to be number 2. Akala was the favorite, and he ended up winning the first auction by a very small margin. So Moonbeam had a lot more support than it was thought. So but there's many different projects that I would urge to go and have a look at, and not just by those projects that not all of them are on Kraken or Binance. So go and have a look on Polkadot itself and see what all the different crowd loans that are available. Okay, and this is where you need to do a little bit of research yourself, a bit of due diligence, and find out what these different projects are doing. Because what it does in Polkadot, they are kind of like it will be instead of having a lot of competition, like everybody's doing the same thing, like on other networks like Ethereum, for example. On Polkadot, we'll have kind of specialized channels concentrate on specific things. So different winners will concentrate on different aspects. Okay.
Stan's also raised an interesting point. Clearly, he's more of a Chanel or Louis Vuitton man, because he says that $4,000 for a Gucci bag is crazy. And $4,000 for a metaverse version sounds like FOMO. One thing I'd like to point out here, in my experience, handbags have never been what could be considered a rational investment, you know, in any universe, and are definitely driven by other emotions other than, you know, cold, hard rationale. But it's a fair point. How does this even happen? I mean, are these people right? Is that the right thing to spend $4,000 on from a financial point of view? Is somebody going to be spending $40,000 on it in a few months? If I'm not saying that's a safe way to deal, as it were. I know you wouldn't, Luca, but is there any sense in this at all, or is it just bonkers?
That's the thing. You get a much different
Or
answer.
any more bonkers?
You get a much different answer if you ask me or if you ask my wife. You know, so I think I'm not the right person. I'm not the right person to ask, because if you ask me about a gadget, that's a different thing. You know, that's where my interest lies more than handbags. But you know, if we're talking about handbags, shoes, then I better not say anything. Let's put it that way. Let's keep the peace. But it's, you know, the point of view of, you were saying, you know, does it make sense to spend X amount of money on a digital item? It's the kind of the same thing. Is scarcity and uniqueness. If you have something that is unique, then if you think about it, you have a handbag. How many people can see that you got that item, that handbag? It's only the people that you come in contact with, which is limited by how much you go, you get around, obviously, but it's only limited by the people that you meet. Online, how many people can see your unique item? Thousands, millions, hundreds of thousands. You know, so that's why it's where the value comes from.
Well, another interesting thing, if I may interject, is that generally when we make these vanity purchases, we're doing them to impress the people who are interested in the same things as us, which often tends to be our friend group, because that's how friend groups are formed, isn't it, from common interest? And I imagine, therefore, if you are heavily into the virtual digital world, and your group have the same interests as you, then there could be as much value in investing in a digital luxury item for the same reason as there would be. I mean, look, a $4,000 Gucci handbag, there's nothing about the handbag itself. You couldn't resell it for $4,000 to somebody that had never heard of the thing, because there's little intrinsic value in it as a meme coin. So actually, I think it's a really, really interesting example, because, for example, I was thinking, for example, we've kind of focused on the female side of handbags. But I'm assuming you can, or you'll very soon be able to buy cars and motorbikes and wristwatches and beard trimmers and the sort of stuff that geezers are into, and I'm sure that the effect will be the same, won't it? Because, but there is a slight difference with some of that, and that's, for example, if you treat yourself to a car with a long bonnet when you're about my age, it certainly says something about you. But at least you can get in the thing and drive comfortably. Whereas, you know, to us, a handbag is a handbag, whether it's made of plastic or got a big G on it. So how does that work when we come to look at other things in there? Are they going to have real value? So if I want to buy a Ferrari in a metaverse, is that going to serve me in some way? Am I going to be able to go from pub to pub in the metaverse, in it? So is there going to be actual use for this stuff, or is it always going to be just fancy digital badges?
No, that's the difference. You know, that's the difference, because this, I mean, when you say about real use, as people spend more and more time online, so obviously their online presence, it becomes more important. And we see, you know, although it's kind of like not from my generation, but if I see, my son's generations already, sometimes they pay more attention on how they look on social media than how they look in real life. And also the new projects that are coming on board will allow you to use your NFTs in different chains, in different projects, and that's going to be, so you'll be able to, you buy an item of clothing, for example, for your avatar, and then you'll be able to use this across different projects, because likely, the same way as you were saying, you won't spend all your time just in one metaverse. You'll probably be moving around in a few places depending on what you want to do, and you would be able to use some of these items across platforms, across projects, and it is going to be a unique, obviously, an item that is connected to you, that you can own, or you can sell, and you can pass on. So it will be, the value of this item depends, obviously, as usual, from supply and demand. So the more scarce an item is, the more, and the more people want it, obviously, the more the price goes up. I find it very difficult sometimes to assign value to NFT projects, and it's not my area of expertise at all. But it is indisputable to see that there is value there, because we're talking about community, being part of a community, something that says something about you. So owning, a kind of a JPEG of an ape has been bought like for hundreds of thousands of dollars just a couple of days ago from an NBA player. It's not because of, you bought a JPEG that's got incredible value, but because it's saying something about you. Look at me, I've got this, and I am part of the ape club. So that's where the value is how you, what it says about you, how you can show off about it, across social media, in a world where social media is more and more important.
Well, you mentioned that, and I'll come in because Jonathan was talking about showing off, has mentioned that he's got a lot more street cred, or got some street cred now that he's bought NFTs. And I was shocked to see that the drum kit and the Beatle boot lid wasn't already doing enough in terms of street cred. So nice to see you had a boost there, Jonathan.
Yeah, do I look too desperate? Is this a problem?
Absolutely. No. You already look quite cool, if I can say that. Not that it means a lot coming from me, obviously, but if the kids are now telling you are, then that, as you've quite rightly say, that means a whole deal more. And it's very interesting, because actually, as Luca was explaining the point, you're kind of proving it there with what you said. A couple of interesting points. Mark and Billy, if someone's willing to buy it, or if somebody is buying it, then it has value. And part of my question was going back to what somebody asked about property, and when we talk about use cases, I think even to me, Luca hasn't completely convinced me that $4,000 handbag has got true. We're valuing it quite correctly when it's $4,000, but property in the right place within the metaverse, then that seems to make sense. That's going to have desirability and value. And Beck made a really good point. Is it just unrealized potential of the world moving towards our online presence being more important than our physical presence? And I'm not really sure I can explain it any better, but I think I know exactly what you mean, really, in that, frankly, in the future, all of this stuff's going to be worth a lot more, because it's going to be a lot more desirable and used a lot more. So maybe we shouldn't be quite so staggered by the big prices.
One use case, and I think I'm not sure if there is somebody doing it already, but I'm sure you'll be able to go to your mall and have a scan of your body. Because I think about, for your ladies, how much you like to try things on. So it is difficult if you buy something online, because you can't try it on, can you? But what about if you had a scan of your body, and actually you can match the item that you're buying and see how it would look on you before you actually order it online? So this is kind of like the reality of what we're going to have in the near future. You'll be able to walk into, in your metaverse, and this is why land is so precious, because you need land to be able to build, for example, a metaverse shop in it. Okay, so you'll be able, imagine yourself in your avatar walking into a shop, and especially with maybe with 3D visions, you'll be able to, look at the shelves, pick things up, and see how something would look. You'll be able to try it on and see, immediately how it will look on you before you say, okay, I'll buy this, and then let's pay for it and have it sent home. That's the kind of new world that we're moving towards. And the things that allow us the kind of experience. I mean, everybody thinks now that the shops will only be our doorway into a particular brand. So often you'll be able to go to the mall, go to a shop, and not be able to buy anything. You're able to just like, and IKEA is already doing this in a way, where you you go in, it's kind of like a showroom. You can see everything. Maybe you can try it on, and then you order and it will be sent to your home. So there is this kind of like, the brands that are doing well are the ones that are marrying the real world and the digital world together. So as I say, the use cases are mind-boggling, to be honest with you, and they come in with new ways of doing things every day. But this is how I'm seeing. We still haven't moved into really a 3D virtual world yet, but it is being thought of, and I can see kind of like digital kind of metaverse offices as well going on, where you'll be able to turn up to the office and being able to get up from your desk and go and talk to your colleagues as if you were in a real office. But maybe you are in Australia and your colleague is in New York or in Europe and so on. So I think this is where what we're moving towards, and some of the blockchain companies, and for example, I make obviously often talk about Cardano, but for example, Cardano is one of those organizations with offices all over the world, and it's not a geographically an organization with a geographical presence in any particular country. It's everywhere, really. And this in particular also the company input output, which is the company of Charles Hoskinson, and is the original creator of Cardano.
Loads of good comments coming in quite late. There is a question from Robin, which I will come to in a moment. There was something that caught my eye here. I think that might have also been from Robin. Yeah, about an augmented reality person at an airport. I think I've seen a sort of a holographic helper stood at a gate, and as you kind of go to walk past them, they bark out the rules to you and ask if you've got any questions. So that really better. That was quite some time ago as well. I think in Birmingham Airport I saw that, Robin.
By the way, Duncan,
yeah.
you said there's a couple of things. First of all, I don't know if you can translate for the rest of the world what a geezer is.
Geezer. I apologise. I think it's probably.
I'm joking. I think everybody understood.
Somebody does understand. Oh, good. Thanks.
The other thing I wanted to say, and this is maybe we can use the power of community for this. But Roger had been talking about launching next year the Genius View coin, okay, launching it on Cardano. Now we have here a stake pool operator like Jonathan, and this is what he will need to go to launch this coin. He will need to go to somebody like Jonathan that can actually physically create it, do the work to create it. So why not just I don't know if you personally can have a word with with our boss basically, and put a good word in for Jonathan, because I think if we can use the power of community and his knowledge and technical ability, it's already within our ecosystem. There's no need to go and look for it somewhere else. So anybody that gets in touch with Roger talking about it, just mention that, okay? And
Absolutely. It's something we want to have a chat about offline, not offline because it's a secret, because it's certainly not now, but just because it's not taking up the call with for everybody. But yeah, let's get our heads together, Jonathan. So a question from for the room as well, really, I guess, from Robin. Still a newbie, learning and listening and learning. So it has been mentioned about kids playing games to earn cryptos. Does anyone know of games appropriate for a 12-year-old lad? A bit gender specific there. A 12-year-old boy, I'm only joking. He mostly has only played Minecraft and Roblox, so he's a boy, and some music making apps. We don't have an Xbox or a PlayStation, just an iPad, or using a smart TV. Anybody got any tips there?
There's loads of them, and so anybody that likes playing games, or there's plenty of play to earn sector is booming right now. So the the market leader being Axie Infinity, but there are so many. If you maybe Titan Arena is one that you could quite safe to play as well. But most of the games are quite friendly for 12-year-olds. Obviously, you need to. There are some adult games as well coming on board, kind of like mafia-related games and so on. So you don't really want to play those, but or shootout games if you can stop your 12-year-old from playing them. But that's a losing battle, I think. It's not, but it's up to you. But there's plenty. Titan Arena, Robin, I can.
So if you,
Robin, I mentioned that Playermint, which is a play-to-earn platform being developed on Cardano, they have a Minecraft treasure hunt that's going to happen. I think to access it, you need one of their NFTs. But yeah, that would certainly be a good way to get started. And it's all in Minecraft, so familiar, safe environment.
Thank you, Jonathan. I actually have a note as well about Discord, which I've saved a link for, where you invited people to join your Discord a few weeks ago. I don't even know what Discord is, so I'm still even researching that, but I've made a note of all these things that you guys are saying. And I am a newbie, but I'm getting to the point of now doing and implementing and signing up and seeing what they are. So, but it's scary in the world with the kids because we limit their time anyway on devices. But if I'm going to be recommending something that I don't know anything about, I want to make sure that it's a game. I mean, he'll get to it when he's older, and he knows how to get behind any kind of supervision I'm doing. But I don't want to recommend anything to him that wouldn't be appropriate for his age now. But thank you. I'll look at those.
brilliant. And there's quite a few good suggestions I noticed as well in the chat there, Robin. So fantastic question. Couple of points. Lisa Marie and I think Billy mentioned about, never mind the width, feel the quality. They like to touch their things in the real world before or when they're buying them. But somebody raised the point, and I wanted to take it to task. Maybe you could answer for us, Luca. I think Jonathan also commented on it. Somebody's mentioned that digital clothing, such as Gucci handbags, all the way down to a t-shirt, I guess, has zero carbon footprint. Is that quite right? Because as I understand it, we do need some energy to create this stuff, and especially if they're NFTs. So could we really say that they're zero carbon footprint, or am I just being a bit too
depending on the blockchain? Yeah, no, depending on the blockchain. If it's a proof of work blockchain, they will have some carbon footprint, but if it's a proof of stake, pretty much close to zero.
And
Nice.
yeah, my thinking is if you think of the manufacturing costs in a physical good, there's a lot of carbon footprint there in anything that we produce. So actually creating a few pixels online is, and filling it with value, because that's what humans do, is a very low energy way of doing it, particularly as we've got all this infrastructure running indefinitely now anyway. Let's move as much onto there as we can in terms of carbon.
So the saving is so great. To question the fact that it might be zero is just being overly pedantic and missing the point, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's as close as you're ever going to get to zero without breathing. John Bellamy disagrees. John, let us know. It's like saying Tesla has a low carbon footprint, and that's the way I was thinking. But what Jonathan just said made sense to me. So are you with me? Are we being a little bit hard on it? And is the difference so great that maybe we should not make such comparisons? Don't know.
I think it's a pretty good marketing ploy.
Nice.
Why not?
Well, I tell you what, we'd all definitely lose our money very quickly if there weren't a few cynics in the room. And I think I'm inclined to be somewhere between what you both say. And I suppose Luca was right. Depends where you go shopping for your Gucci handbag, if you want it to be zero carbon. Any more? Yeah, nice point from Robin. She thinks that kids living kind of inside computers is scary. And as a parent, she controls and they control device time. But I think that earning crypto through their playtime would be a good way for them to learn about crypto world and then teach them to invest in it. And I couldn't agree more. What's your point of view on that, Luca? And anyone else?
That's right. As a parent, there's one thing that you could do if you wanted to. I mean, if you go to, if I share my screen for a second, okay, I can show you. And obviously, this is for something that's already available, and some of the new games are not beyond there. But still, if we go onto CoinGecko, which is where it's a an aggregator of data for blockchain projects, and that lists over 10,000 different, at the moment 11,000. We got 11,143 projects. If we go at the top where it says coins and categories, so if we click on that, we can then go and select. These are all different categories. Okay, if we find the gaming, here we are, gaming category. So literally, these are all the listed. Obviously, there's a lot of games they haven't released their token yet, so they're not on there. But you can scroll through it. You can see a lot of the blockchain games and platforms will be on there. Okay, so literally, you can go through the list and have a look at different projects and find one that you're happy for your son to play. Some of them are games like Illuvium, for example. Some of them are platforms like Engine Coin and Gala. It's like a game manufacturer. There's several games. Some of them are like the Sandbox, they kind of like a metaverse project. But if you go into any project, for example, you want to have a look at Illuvium. So you go there and you click on there, and you can go onto the website and have a look at what it looks like. Okay, so this is the Illuvium project. It's one of the biggest, at the moment, blockchain games on Ethereum. Okay, so you can have a look at the trailer. You can have a good look at the game, so you can get an idea what the game is like, and if you'd be happy for your for your son to play it, and once you see there's something that you like, then the next question is, okay, what do I need to do for him to play? Because this is play to earn. Normally there is a certain kind of like entry, something that you need to have. You have to buy an NFT, like in Axie, for example, you need to buy 3 Axies, which is 3 NFTs that can cost about $1,000 or plus to just start playing the game. So depending on what game you are looking at, there will be some things that you need to buy, say, probably to to start playing the game. Some of them might be free to play to begin with, and then you can buy to get more, to do more in the game. This is how you start. Basically, you have a look at the list and you go through the different games. Go back. Have a look at other games. I don't know. Star Atlas is another one. Another one of the big gaming projects. So this is more like a space game, more like more like a Star Wars or this is you can see already that some of these games. Sorry. Some of these games are getting closer to resolution of console games. I know this is a trailer. We don't really know yet what the gameplay is going to be like, but you can start getting an idea of what type of games they are. Okay, so go through the list, and you will soon find one that think, yes, it's okay for him to play that game, and you can give your give you a recommendation for your son to play. Okay. Hopefully that helps.
Fantastic, thoroughly informative and interesting call today, Luca, as ever. But I don't know how anybody else feels about that. But thank you all for being here and staying right till the end. Really nice turnout. So I think maybe 1 or 2 new faces, not new faces to me, but new faces to Crypto Hour. So nice to see you here, Billy. and one or two others. Anyway, yeah, thanks very much to you all. And of course, as ever, hugest thanks to Luca for his time and the information. And see you here next week. Again.
Yeah.
We got more to end on there, Luca?
No, just say thank you very much for turning up. It's it's very enjoyable, and it's like to have a nice open discussion like today. I think it's as Roger always says, I see myself as a kind of a leading learner in this field. Although I tend to know a lot, but I'm also learning a lot every day. So I'm happy for any of you that we should to contribute that I can learn something from. I'm here to learn as much as to help somebody there a little bit further down the line than I am. Okay. So look forward to see you again next week.
Well, I do my best to educate you, Luca. You know.
Actually, I've learned a lot from you, Duncan.
I bet you have. Yeah, exactly what not to do. Totally, yeah.
It's not related to crypto, maybe. Not related to crypto, but in other things, Genius U related, and you have really taught me a lot.
Okay. I thought you meant you'd learn when not to buy, when not to sell, when not to hold.
I think I need to get connected to your account so I can see whenever you buy something, I go the other way.
Absolutely. It's been happening again lately. I'll fill everybody in next week on that one when the situation develops. Thanks everybody for all your time and for being here, and see you all next week, hopefully.
Okay. Thank you.